So fishing, if you think you could switch your strategy and get by without eating beef or eating pork and that sort of thing because of all the fertilizer dumped on the land and washed into the coastal ocean, we still have problems. These problems are associated with fishing impacts on the global ocean. It's becoming increasingly apparent that this idea, just like the buffalo, where we thought we could shoot buffalo forever when we were, a young country, the idea that the oceans are inexhaustible expanses is just not the reality anymore. We have technology now that allows us to go anywhere on the planet, fish any depth, 24 hours a day. We've got electronic fish finders. We've got satellites orbiting that find the areas in the ocean that are conducive to aggregating fish, and we can extract every last single fish out of the ocean if we choose. Here's a graph of several graphs, I should say, of a paper that was published about 2003, Myers and Worm, Nature paper, and it's showing the decline of the top predators in the ocean. Now, these are the really valuable fish that everybody likes. It's tuna, it's swordfish, those sorts of fast-moving top predator fish, and there's been a 90% decline. We only have 10% of these fish populations remaining in all of the oceans, and it's not a local problem, it's a global problem. You look at the open ocean, you look at the continental shelf, you can look at the Atlantic Ocean, the Indian Ocean, the Pacific Ocean. They all show similar declines, and the graph shows these top predators, the number of fish caught per 100 hooks set, and it's an indicator of the concentration of fish remaining in the ocean. And if you were to instead plot total fish catch, you'd still be catching quite a few fish, but that's because we've increased the number of fishermen out there fishing or the number of hooks set. So this is the classic sort of standard way of getting at a relative estimate of fish concentration in the ocean by looking at how many we catch when we put 100 hooks out. Another way of seeing this is just the total number of fish that we bring in. When we bring fish in, we are required by international law to report the catches, and we've been keeping track of this for 50, 100 years or so. And since the early 90s, the total number of fish that are caught globally is leveled out. The ramifications of this are that we've maxed out the ocean, that we've got about 85, 90 million metric tons of fish being pulled in from the ocean every year, and that hasn't increased since the late 90s. And it hasn't leveled off because we've decided to be really proactive and be kind to the ocean and not fish anymore. It's leveled off because we can't get any more fish out of the ocean. We've so maxed out things. Another indication of stressing the ocean and stressing the fish populations in the ocean is to look at the average trophic level of the total fish catch of the global fishery. And a trophic level is, what position on the food chain a particular fish species belongs. And if a fish species eats algae, it's the first trophic level above primary producer. And if it's a small carnivore, a small fish that eats a smaller fish, it's one level up, all the way up to these fast-moving swordfish and fast-moving tuna that eat large fish. There are several trophic food steps away from the plant algae in the water. So it used to be back years ago that fisheries would go out and the main fisheries wanted to get the valuable high trophic level fish. They're the prize fish, the tuna and the swordfish. Well, as those fish populations have been depleted to near zero or 10% of their starting abundance, fishing groups have switched away from those high prized fish because there's not very many of them remaining, and are starting to fish to lower and lower trophic level fish that have less desirable value per pound, such as a sardine or an anchovy or a shrimp. So those are low trophic level organisms versus these fast-moving predator fish like tuna and swordfish. The implication here, or the analogy here, is we're scraping the bottom of the barrel. We're scraping for the last remaining crummy fish that we're still willing to eat as time progresses. So it's yet another indication, another angle of looking at this problem and convincing scientists throughout the world that we've maxed out the ocean and we are fishing them well beyond their sustainable levels.